Hey, welcome to the Illinois. We got episode 42. I'm here with you, my boo. I'm here with my favorite person in the world, Neha. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing great, Joe. We are here in the lovely Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, coming to you from our lovely vacation spot. Didn't want to miss another show, so we are coming to you from our lovely paradise.
And it is this amazing combinations here. We got the all-inclusive deal, free food, free drinks, a little fun along the way, a lot of cool activities. It's been awesome, but we did not want to not come live, or it's live, and then we'll do a record. But we did not want to not record while we're out here.
And give you the latest NFL and basketball highlights.
And NFL and basketball?
Basketball.
Oh, basketball.
Women
Absolutely.
and men's, whether it be college or professional.
Very true. Probably not too much with women's just now. We did talk about the end of it, but that'll be coming as well. But let's start off with a little pigskin, tossing the old pigskin around, shall we?
Yes.
This week was a pretty amazing week of football games, as it is every week.
It is.
It started off on Thursday night, where the Vikings, a couple weeks ago, unbeaten, looked unstoppable. Defense looked amazing. The retread Sam Darnold, who's kind of bounced around the league, looked pretty good. Looked really solid.
But then Jared Goff took it to it.
They played against Lions last week. Lions beat them. Didn't kill them, but Lions beat them. And then they played against the Rams. Now, the Rams, a couple years ago, led by Matthew Stafford, and an amazing defense, by the way, at the time. Big time, amazing defense. But won the Super Bowl.
They did.
And it's been a little quiet this year. They had a lot.
And I mean, I think that same year, the Dodgers and I think was there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of the, all the teams in LA won that year. It was just like they all won.
I know because that was the COVID championship that the Dodgers made that year. That was 2020.
And I think the Lakers won that year as well.
You're coming in hot.
I mean, I got to if I got the stats.
Yes, and you are hot.
So it was like the Lakers, the Dodgers, and the Rams.
Yes,
all won that year.
They did. But so the Rams have really started off slow this year. But this game, which happened this past Thursday, they got a couple.
They upset the Vikings.
They did. They had a couple guys come back. Cooper Kupp, who is one of the best wide receivers in football, and Puka Nacua. No, this is not a Lion King's reference. No. Puka Matata. There's really no way you can go with that. Puka Matata. Anyways, so they won, and they won actually pretty soundly. So I think the Rams now, with their wide receivers back, they don't blow up the team. Before the game started, the question was, are they going to trade Cooper Kupp? Are they going to dismantle other members of the team? I think this gives them just amount of room. The door's a little bit open for them to kind of still go on a run, make the playoffs, and then once you make the playoffs, who knows, right?
Exactly.
But really exciting game. Vikings, I still think the Vikings are a good team, but I think they're showing they're not a great team, which they kind of started off, which still, that makes sense, but it was a great game. Thursday night is just an amazing time to watch football. And
exactly.
Glad we got to watch that.
If you can't make it to B-Dubs, bring B-Dubs to the house.
It's a good point. We B-Dubs or anyone with B-Dubs you're looking, if you want to sponsor us from now on, we'd love to come live from wherever we're at and eating Buffalo Wild Wings right now as well.
Yeah, we love B-Dubs.
We do love B-Dubs. Big fan of the Dubs. Big fan.
Right.
We're just fans of the Dubs.
Yeah.
So that was certainly, that started us off on Thursday. The game that that's blowing me away right now is the Ravens, who were considered, the Ravens started off 0-2. And then they just went on a run, and they won the next 5 games. And they looked, between Lamar Jackson being an MVP candidate, between Derrick Henry leading the NFL in rushing yards and just looking amazing, defense picking up.
The Ravens were looking.
They looked great, and
they were looking like can't touch us.
Yeah, it was like MC Hammer,
Whoa,
can't touch us. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to work on your dance moves there, Joe.
I don't know. You keep telling me I'm okay. Were you lying? But
yeah, we are here in paradise. I mean, if you want to come down, we are not down under, but we are down.
We got a hot tub right over here. We got a bed outside, a little cabana out here. There's pools everywhere.
Yeah, it's basically like a hammock.
It's pretty amazing. No, it's like an actual like mattress though out here. It's,
like in case you're about to fall when you get out of the hot tub, you can just break your fall on the mattress.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that might happen later.
Yeah, this all-inclusive resort has a nightclub included, so you don't have to go out to the city.
It's got everything.
Yeah,
it's got and more food and drink, more food than I think we're accustomed to eating because we usually kind of contain our eating.
Yeah,
and here it's like
your flip-flops. Hey, here's some flip-flops.
You are coming live right now with some sweet Punta Cana flip-flops that they provided us, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty sweet here.
It was pretty sweet. But following up just on what we were talking about with those Ravens. Ravens played against the Browns. The Browns, as we know, have been kind of the laughingstock of the NFL. And one of the reasons why they have been the laughingstock of the NFL is they paid a 5-year, $230 million guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson. Now, I don't want to go through all his background. There's a lot.
But that's like a hefty price to pay a quarterback.
$46 million.
That's not that great.
And, well, the thing is, so that's funny. He was really good. And then he ended up getting hurt, and then he ended up doing some nefarious things. Look up Deshaun Watson if you don't know. We're not going to explain it too much on here. We try not to, be
get
too
into
judgy.
Get into the
nitty gritties. We just try to massage you guys into the right way. But anyways, but he got hurt and he's no longer can play. So still, the Browns, they traded their best wide receiver, Amari Cooper. They traded him to the Buffalo Bills, so he gone. And the thought was they might as well just keep blowing up the team. They only got one win. It's looking really bad, but Deshaun Watson couldn't play. So they had to start a guy. And if you've been following football at all, they started a guy named...
And I'm guessing if you're tuning in, you probably are.
We hope so. Or if not, we just hope that,
Hey, you're learning something from us.
You're learning something, yes. That'd be, to be honest, I think probably better if they don't. And they're learning it from us. But Jameis Winston, who's been in the league for a while, Jameis Winston actually has a record that no other quarterback has, okay? He's a part of the only 30-30 club. What does that mean? That means in the same season, he threw for 30 touchdowns. He also threw for 30 interceptions. So it's not exactly a record you would want, but Jameis Winston is just a cool cat. Like, his teammates love him. And he went out there, played against the Ravens, okay?
The beloved Ravens.
We're going into this, I think arguably you would say the Chiefs, Ravens, and another team we'll talk about in a second, are three of the best teams. But Chiefs and Ravens, definitely the best two AFC teams. And the Browns took it to him and they beat him. I mean, they didn't kill him, but they beat him. And Jameis Winston threw a touchdown at the end of the game to win the game. Jameis Winston threw for 300 yards. Deshaun Watson, in his entire 20-game Cleveland Brown career, hasn't thrown for 300 yards. Jameis Winston threw for 3 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson, in his entire 20-game Cleveland Brown career, hasn't thrown for 3 touchdowns in a game. Jameis Winston did more in one game than the 5-year, $230 million guy is doing. Now, the big thing about that contract that I want you and everyone else to know is that they made it fully guaranteed. And the thing about football contracts is it's never the case. Usually it'll be like, hey, this guy signed a 6-year, $200 million contract with $50 million guaranteed. What that really means is it's actually a 6-year, $50 million contract because that's all that's guaranteed. If they continue to play.
Like Patrick Mahomes' contract, how much was fully guaranteed?
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but it was a $250 million contract, I believe, and I think he got like 100 guaranteed or something. But he's a great example because Patrick Mahomes is kind of, right now, he's not even a top 10 paid quarterback in the NFL. This is a guy with 3 Super Bowl wins, 4 Super Bowl appearances, multiple MVPs, arguably. He's
on pace to be the GOAT.
He's on pace to be the GOAT. I mean, right, he's the best right now by far. I don't care if
probably has the best arm.
I don't care if other people think CJ Stroud is. It's a little call out to your PPR guy.
Maybe, but we hate to do the name dropping because I know you don't like it when we name drop your people. But anyways, to move on.
Yes.
But like we were all saying here, Patrick Mahomes probably has the best arm we've ever seen.
Yes.
Is on pace to be the GOAT.
Yes.
And that's all we got to say.
Well, but the cool thing, and my point with that I wanted to get to really quick,
that
is that
he's not fully guaranteed on his $200-some million, but
not.
Deshaun Watson
was.
is.
And like I say,
And he
like,
is.
and one of the things I think Patrick Mahomes kind of learned from Tom Brady, who is arguably the guy, he's the guy.
That if you're too greedy, your team's not going to win.
Right, because the more money you have to allocate for QB resources, the less you can allocate around the whole
Get
rest of the
good
team.
wide receivers, get good tight ends, get good running backs.
And defensive ends, defensive
And,
tackles, safeties, cornerbacks, linebackers.
Offense,
As many defenders
linemen,
too.
everything.
Good people everywhere.
Defensive, everything.
Yes. So that was a big upset, and I didn't see that coming. We'll have to see how the Browns. I want to see how the Ravens actually end up next week. Quite frankly, because sometimes you can get a game like that. It's just an anomaly. You just suck one day.
But didn't you say there was a third team that you think is the third best?
Yes, for sure. So I think most people would say there's no doubt the Lions are the best, if not the second best, if worse, the third best team in the NFL now that the Ravens lost.
And who is now contending for that MVP spot that Lamar Jackson might be dropping from?
Jared Goff. Jared Goff. He turns on and then he turns off the Goff switch, and he has been crushing it. The Lions offense. Now they played the Titans, and the Titans aren't good, but they boat raced it. They boat raced the Titans. They beat them 52-17. They literally were doing. They did it a couple of weeks ago too when they played against the Cowboys. They're literally toying with teams. They did a play where David Montgomery, Chicago Bear David Montgomery, gets the ball. And then he's just sort of looking around, and then he's like, "I think I'll pass." And he's a running back. He doesn't. I don't think he's ever even passed a damn ball. They look amazing.
We don't see, other than the quarterback, these other positions throwing the ball, unheard of. But I mean, if you're going to be beastly and do it as a running back, tight end, or wide receiver, do it. If it's going to get some points, why not?
Why not? It's well played.
And if you're going to be Lamar Jackson and pass it to yourself in the Super Bowl, or in the AFC or the playoffs, whatever, why not?
Why not? Yes. So Lions are awesome. It sucks because it's guiding me to another team in their own division. My beloved Chicago Bears played against the Washington Commanders. It was the number 1 overall pick and number 2 overall pick of the draft. Jane Daniels of the Washington Commanders, and of course Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears, going head to head.
Head to head.
And truthfully, Caleb, and I'm just going to say it. I'm a Bears fan, but I want to be as unbiased as possible. Caleb Williams did not play that great. Now, I would say one of the reasons he didn't play so great is coaching and the offensive line play, quite frankly. But
the offensive line of the Bears
not good.
Needs a change up, like really bad.
Really bad. Really. Don't just throw the cheese. Throw that change. You gotta throw the change. They do. They need to figure some things out.
Do we need to trade or do we need to just stay?
Well, it's hard to trade at this juncture of the season for legitimate good offensive linemen. It is.
If Jason Kelce wants to cut in and get out of retirement, do it. Don't
come to Punta Cana. Come where we live. Yeah, you can stay with us. You stay with us right in the suburbs. We got you. You can stay with us. But
we do have room in our basement. We are redoing it. We are finishing it. So Jason Kelce, come in.
Pool tables there, Jason.
Okay. We got you.
I will take you. But again, the game was so. Bears with 30 seconds to go score the go-ahead touchdown. In a situation like that, you're going to win the game 99.9% of the time in a situation like that. Commanders got the ball. Jane Daniels moved it a little bit. And then now it's time for a prayer. It's time for what they call a Hail Mary. It's basically time for throw it up there as far as you can and hope and pray. Hail Mary. Hope and pray that your guy catches it. Now, what sucked about that particular play as it was going on is that Tyreek Stevenson, who I love, a defensive back on the Bears, was kind of taunting the Washington Commanders crowd. We got this. You guys suck. And and I know you're a big Tay-Tay fan since we're just listening to the song, what is a huge amount of karma that happened to Mr. Stevenson is he's sitting there taunting them see you later, we got this. He's the one that when they threw the Hail Mary, he tipped the ball up in the air. He was the guy. He tipped it up in the air. And then the Commanders, Noah Brown, he ended up catching it for the touchdown for the game-winning thing, and So it sucked. And it made my Sunday evening not so good because it was a layup game.
There are Commander fans that it was awesome for.
Yeah, and guys, if you're Commander fans out there and you like your quarterback, I'm with you. I think Jay Daniels is going to be great. He's a little slight. think he's going to have to get a little thicker. I kind of follow what Lamar did. I see he's kind of like a Lamar Jackson for sure. Needs to beef up a little bit though. You're skinny like me, and you're running around. You get your ass. So put on a little weight. I could, if I played football right now, I'm 170-ish pounds or so.
I mean, Joe, you would get tossed around too.
I'm over 6 feet, 170 pounds. I'm dying out there. Okay, so don't you?
After this vacation, you might be 180. So.
I might be 180 because there's so much.
But I need to transfer that fat to muscle.
I will. Well, it's a little shot at the lack of muscle, Joe's right. But that's okay.
Hey, it is what it is.
It is. That's life, by the way. It always is. But you know what? Be kind, change your mind. Okay?
Be kind, it might change a mind.
Yes.
That is our slogan.
We're gonna get that trademark. And before we end up with the football here, I want to talk about a couple teams that going into the season, people were like, these guys are going to be good. First team I want to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys. Coming into the season, 3 years ago, it was a 16-game season. They went 12-4, made the playoffs. 2 years ago, they went 12-5 and went to a 17-game season, made the playoffs. Last year, they went 12-5, made the playoffs. They've been like the regular season beast. Okay, they've been crushing it. This year, they suck. They suck. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run.
Are they paying their quarterback the most money?
And again, that kind of brings back our conversation, what we were saying before. When you have to allocate all those resources to your quarterback, you got to let some other guys kind of go that would help your team. And you're kind of seeing that. So I don't know. It's pretty funny if you're a Cowboys fan, you pay anything with pay attention to the NFL at all. Their owner/GM, by the way, he's the only owner/GM in football. I believe maybe in all major sports, but definitely in football. He just keeps verbally vomiting like crazy every time he talks. He's kind of like pushing the blame other places, saying they couldn't afford Derrick Henry. Hello, if Derrick Henry's available and you're the Cowboys, afford Derrick Henry. But I don't feel bad for him. They actually have by far the richest franchise. I think we were talking about that before, right? They're like $10 billion or something. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But Cowboys still suck. And as Bears fan, I kind of like this other one team I want to talk about is New York Jets. So last year, New York Jets, before the season started,
do you hate the Jets because of their quarterback or just because you hate them?
Because I don't hate anyone. I hate you know me long enough.
Or you dislike?
Hate's a pretty strong word. I'm a big fan of rooting against them.
Not a fan.
Not a fan at all. Not a fan at all. So.
And it's because you're not a fan of the Packers.
Very true. Yes. Well, I mean, I'm a Bears fan.
They're the main rivals of the Bears.
If I'm a Bears fan, and all of a sudden I like Packers. And I was actually talking about Jets got this awesome defense, a lot of good offensive weapons. Last year they said, hey, listen, we get Aaron Rodgers. Told my quarterback, we're going deep in the playoffs if not make a run to the Super Bowl. 4 plays into last year, Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles tendon, done for the rest of the season. So then everyone's like, okay, well, now this year will be the year. They didn't factor.
Now, is that what Mike Greenberg said?
Well, Mike Greenberg, Grady. We should hashtag Grady on this to see if he'll ever listen. That'd be awesome. Yeah, Grady's a Jets fan, just like me. He's been. I've actually got to see the Bears win the Super Bowl. Greeny's never got to see them, I don't believe, unless he was old enough. No, in the late 60s, I don't think he would have saw that. If he did, he was like 2 years old, so he didn't see it. But the Jets, they suck, and their quarterback sucks. And the thing that I think they didn't think about was the fact that quarterback's old. I know Tom Brady played in his 40s and was awesome.
And he won for the Buccaneers.
Won 1 year. He won. He was really good.
And he won for Patriots too, like in his late 30s or early 40s.
Yeah, late 30s, yes.
Tom Brady's a beast.
But he's also an anomaly. He's kind of like, and it's different, but it's kind of like what LeBron James, and we'll talk about basketball, but like what LeBron James is doing in his 40s. Like, people never did that, and that's what Tom Brady did. So for those that thought that all of a sudden.
Tom Brady didn't bring his son into the league.
No, we'll get to that.
His son's kind of young.
His son's like, his son's like a kid.
His son's like a preteen.
Yes. But Jets, to be honest, I'd blow it up. I know you just traded for Devontae Adams. I trade him. I know you keep Garrett Wilson, keep Sauce Gardner, keep your young pieces. To be honest with you, I wouldn't even trade Aaron Rodgers. I would just blow it up. You're 2-6. You got no chance of doing anything. It's over. Bye. Just get rid of the parts. But for all you guys that are Jets fans like Greeny, our boy Mike Greenberg.
I mean, I traded. I'd go and trade him for Jaden Daniels.
They wouldn't, but the Commanders would not do that.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Unless it was like a high price,
No, they wouldn't. Unless it was like, hey, we'll give you 5 number 1 draft picks and Aaron Rodgers for Jaden Daniels. They still wouldn't do it. But at least they would think about that,
They might be like, maybe like yesterday.
Yeah. but then again, all our troubles seem so far away. But so, and again, good luck, Cowboys and Jets fans. I can feel you. I've had a lot of rough years here in Chicago for my Bears.
And then if they suddenly go on like a 5-streak win, you're gonna be like, damn, I was wrong.
Yeah, and I will. I'm first one that's gonna admit I'm wrong on anything. I'm wrong on a lot. So,
but right now it doesn't seem hopeful.
Right now it looks like I'm gonna be right, and they suck because right now they suck, and I don't see that changing.
And Aaron Rodgers is an old mofo.
Yeah, it's funny though. He's also younger than both of us, but he is an old mofo, isn't he?
He's like 5 months younger than me.
Well, now everybody knows your age.
What up?
What up?
Episode 42.
Oh, you're not there yet.
That's where I'm going to be next year. What up?
That's right. Oh, but I missed those days. The Jackie Robinson episode. That's what I should have said. It's the Jackie Robinson episode.
Jackie Robinson, here I come next year.
Jackie Robinson was not only an amazing baseball player, football player, and track star. He was also a really good basketball player. So speaking about basketball,
here we go.
A lot of cool things are happening there in the NBA, for sure. Scoring is a lot easier nowadays. There's a couple different reasons for that. I just want to mention it. The first thing is the 3-point line is such it's such a weapon now. That wasn't back then. I mean, before you'd only shoot a 3 if you had to. It was kind of thought that you'd want to go inside out, meaning you want to kind of get it to your big guys underneath the hoop so they could do layups or hook shots or dunks or anything like that because they were high percentage shots. And then
they don't have the GOAT right here to like.
I know, but he'd be flying in the air right now.
Whatever. We got our nice backdrop here.
It'd be cool though if somehow just somebody flew in the sky right now because we're talking about it. But scoring is a lot easier nowadays because the 3-point is more popular than ever, and people are using it like crazy. And also because there's not hand checking. And just a real quick, like when you have the ball back in the day, I could just put my hands all over you. Okay, now I can't. Okay, so I want you to think about it. If you're dribbling a ball, would it be easier for you just to dribble and do your own thing, or would it be easier if you have my hands on you?
Like if I was just if you weren't on me,
it'd be a lot easier, right?
I don't know why you think you can have your hands all on me.
Well, a couple of reasons. One, marriage says that should be decently okay. But secondly, because the rules. So I just want to do a little caveat with that. But also say that, yesterday, first 50-point game of the year, Paolo Banchero.
Sweet. Who is on the Orlando Magic?
He is. He'll end up being on the Olympic teams in the future, too. He's an amazing young talent. I think his third year in the NBA this year. Amazing talent. So kudos to him. Props to you, Paolo. First 50-point. The interesting thing will be to see how many 50-point games are actually going to happen because it's going to be a lot. But he's the first one, and it is pretty exciting. I'm a fan, of course, of all Chicago teams. I don't really think you have a bet. What is your basketball team? I don't think we've really talked about this.
I think it's the Golden State Warriors. I have I'm a big fan of Steph.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Steph a lot.
Nice.
I mean, it's kind of like all the other teams. I mean, I'm not I've never really been a huge fan of any one team, but probably the Bulls back in the 90s. So I'd say Bulls is like, my main team, and then, Golden State, just like you.
Well, the reason actually I mentioned that is I can't remember the Bulls having a young prospect that we've been able to root for.
Since Derrick Rose.
And Derrick Rose was such a small amount. I mean, rookie of the year, all-star second year, and then before his third year, he said, why can't I be the MVP? And then he went on and became the MVP. He was such an amazing story from the really very rough area of Chicago, where Mr. Rose grew up on the west side, where, a lot of people don't always come out so well, but where he came from and who he was and how much the city embraced him, but not since then. And that's been, Derrick Rose just retired after a 15-plus year career. So, that was like 12 years. So, Magic fans, you guys are lucky. San Antonio Spurs fans, by the way, y'all are lucky. You got Wemby to root for. Like all these guys that have these young pieces that you can kind of watch grow like the Warriors did back in the day with Steph. It's exciting. But Paolo, much props to you. Once again, 50-point game. No matter how the rolls are, it's pretty awesome. Much props. I guess lastly, we're just going to reference a couple other teams. There's 2 undefeated seasons just started. 2, 3, 4 games. I think 3 games is the most. We just start. Okay,
Yeah.
so it is brand new, but we want to actually highlight a couple teams that are doing pretty good. Pretty good. Not Brockport, but pretty good. So one of the teams, they're both the Eastern Conference. There's 2 undefeated teams. One is a little bit of a surprise. The other one is. So one that surprises the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland Cavaliers have been a playoff team. They're led by
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, the beast. Darius Garland, their outstanding young point guard, and Evan Mobley, who's just an outstanding big. But they're undefeated. They're playing extremely well. They're moving that ball around, nice spacing. You know, they really they play defense, which I love as a guy that I was a try-hard guy whenever I played sports. You know, there's some things that baseball was okay, but the other sports it wasn't so great. But I always knew just try as hard as I can, then at least the coaches are going to let me get a little playing time. But I just love watching them, and it's been really exciting seeing them.
And the other team is who else than the Celtics?
Boston Celtics. So it's
championship, last year's champions.
Celtics and Lakers, they're kind of like the Yankees. Celtics and Lakers are like the best teams of all time in the NBA, right? They've won the most championships, 18 and 17 apiece, 18 for the Celtics, 17 for the Lakers. It was Celtics won last year. It was kind of cool, and one of the reasons why I think the Celtics are so cool. So we do know, obviously, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, and Drew Holiday. They're kind of leading the way with that squad. We know that. We also know the Olympics happen, and this will kind of come around for why I'm mentioning this. The Olympics happened. Jason Tatum made the team, but the coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, was coaching the Olympics, and he had a tendency to kind of like not play Jason Tatum so much. And some people, he was like, it's matchups.
I think it was maybe he wanted the more senior players kind of be, shine.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's, he's been in, this was like his second Olympics, so that would usually be the first Olympics. There's a lot of why he could have done that. By the way, the USA won the Olympics.
Yeah. But I felt like, Steph, LeBron, KD were kind of the more...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those were the guys.
Kind of let them play more.
Yes. So he kind of he got shafted, and then Jaylen Brown, who was the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals and the MVP of the NBA Finals, he didn't even make the team. And a lot of people know why. There's some political stuff going on with there.
I don't think he's a Nike spokesperson.
No, he's not. He's not a fan of Nike.
And Olympics is all about Nike.
It's all about Nike. So I think Jaylen Brown and specifically Jason Tatum, and I know it should be
they're
Brown.
They're going to make a big deal about what's up.
They're gonna take it out on everyone, and they have, especially JT, who's one of my favorite players in the NBA.
I mean, game one, what up? He was like, what's up with the 3-pointers?
And the game 2, he had 28. Game 3, he scored 37 again. So he won 37, 28, 37. So he's leading the NBA in scoring. So we're going to keep watching those Celtics.
And also, we're going to keep watching the, women's. I know we just finished, but we got to keep watching these college girls too, like Paige Brookers, Juju, Kiki. All these girls keep coming up. So keep watching.
Well, we hope you guys keep watching. We want to keep going. We keep growing.
We'll see you next week.
We're going to enjoy Paradise. You guys take care.
Yep, next week.